Hey guys, welcome back. So if you've been on my channel, you will notice that I've not reviewed a single DC book, but today things have changed and I have with me here Night Terror's First Blood, which is the first of DC's next big event, spanning for the next 2 months ending in August, where they have to fight their own nightmare version of Marvel. DC's nightmare is insomnia, and he's no joke. Not even Superman is safe, as well as the villains too. Everyone is catching the smoke, so let's get into it. But first, watch this, and after watching this, if you decide it's a good video, like and subscribe to the channel for similar content. This one opened up with John D having a perfect dream until he's awoken by his wife telling him that it's a beautiful summer day at the park and he's missing it by sleeping it away. John D then started off telling her that until her interrupting his sleep, he was having a beautiful dream and the only thing missing was his family, being his wife and the children to complete it. But then when she responded to John D, she sounded off, which led John D to turn like, say what? And there was his wife, decayed up with maggots coming out of her mouth as she says, "Kiss me, John, kiss me, John." Which John obviously declined, like, come on, he ain't that cheap, at least brush your teeth. But then John D quickly realized that this is a dream and he is currently having a nightmare that's been forced upon him, and for him being Mr. Destiny, who for him dreams are his playground, he won't be bullied by a bootleg version of himself, or so it seems. So he called out whoever it is in the shadows messing with him to not be shy and show himself, but instead he was taken to the Hall of Justice. And mind you, John D has been a villain to the Justice League for a good minute, which is why he lets this shadow person know that it will take more than a haunted house to frighten someone such as himself, and once he finds his dreamstone, he will deal with whoever that's messing with him, indicating that he doesn't have the stone and he has to find it first for that. And then with all this said, he was still stunned when the Art of the Justice League manifested and attacked him, but then he was more shocked as to how someone can manifest this much power, especially from afar, which led this shadow guy to asking John D that where is the nightmare stone, which really is the dream stone, but I guess when you use it to bring nightmares on people, it will be the nightmare stone. And we know John D doesn't even know the whereabouts of the stone, seeing as how he said once he found the stone, he will make whoever is messing with him pay, because he sees this as an insult. And keep this in mind, because I think what John D said paid off at the end. I mean, it didn't work for him. Sorry. So when this nightmare guy asks for the dreamstone or the nightmare stone, John D tells him no, and no one can have the stone, whilst at the same time he's getting overpowered by the constructs of this nightmare guy. And over here we have a lonely Boston Brand, the Deadman, coping with his loneliness in a graveyard. And whilst we might see this as God, Boston Brand sees it as being equivalent to Batman and his Batcave. So there you go, Batman have his Batcave and Boston Brand also have his graveyard. Whilst here, a wind of death blows past him, something that feels like death, like himself, so he decided to follow it, which led him to Superman, who is doing some humanitarian work, which left Deadman frozen, because no one can help but smile when you see these big blue scouts in action, because for him, not even all the superpowers in the world will match the power of his heart. Do you agree? Let me know in the comment section. And this was when Superman got a Justice League alert. So Deadman followed him because whatever he's sensing, it's not Superman, but it's following Superman, as Superman made his way to Wonder Woman, who has also gotten the Justice League Assemble alert. And also, she's also being followed by the same Death Wind, which feels like they are both haunted. Whatever this is, it's radiating strongly from the Hall of Justice. And now that he's close enough to the stronghold, he realizes how bad this is, as it rather forces from another realm seeming into theirs. So the Deadman decided to find a way to tell them. When they got in, Superman asked Batman whether he called them here, but Batman told them that the alarm was sent from a restricted area, an area restricted to only the three of them, and prior to this day, no one can breach it, not even Superman. But then, on this unfaithful day, someone has, which is why they were the only three that got the alert. And when they got inside, they found what seemed to look like John Dee's body all darted up. But then, Deadman feels there's something off about John Dee's body because for someone who deals with the dead and has a graveyard as his personal batcave, he surely may have seen his fair share of bodies, and this body for him is odd. While here, Harley Quinn, who was stopping by Arkham for a few medical supplies, found a few things wrong there, so he called the Bats to let him know. And Batman was confused as to how Harley Quinn got his number until he heard John Dee is right now in Arkham Asylum and is having a terrible nightmare, which quickly got his attention because all the while he thought this was John Dee's body. So then Batman has to get there. Superman even suggested that if this is magic, then they should consult Zatanna, but Deadman, who knows this is far from magic, he tried to possess this kind of John Dee's body to let them know this is not magic, but was bounced back because this is not actually a real body, which left only Batman as the next option, for whom I'm sure Batman has warned him against possessing his body, but he did it anyway because he needed to get his message across somehow. But then he did it and then told them that the realm of dreams and the world of death are connected. What is happening is not magic, it's primordial, and someone is tapping into something very powerful and very dangerous, as Batman forcefully exorcised him out of him. And when Superman and Wonder Woman tried to tell him what Deadman said, he shut them down and told them that even though he's been possessed, whilst he cast him out, he was still listening to what he said. He then warns Deadman to not do that again, and this time Batman has me and you as witnesses. But then he asks Deadman to follow him to Arkham if he's still here. Meanwhile, Diana is going for Zatanna because even if it's not magic, you can never be too safe, and Superman is going to Supercore to see if anything has changed on the cosmic level. Whilst this is happening, we have Waller, who is keeping an eye on these three because she knows something bad is coming whenever these three meet. Batman has made his way to Arkham, and when he got there, John Dee was screaming, "Don't fall asleep, and if he finds the Nightmare Stone, it will be the end of everything." He also references his eyes as this purple thing got into his eyes and then he dies. With them witnessing this, they knew if all this happened in his dream, all they have to do is to stay awake, as easy as that may sound. And shortly after that, John Dee's body got possessed, and not by a dead man, but by this nightmare guy, and then tells Batman that he thinks he is the staff of nightmares. He's seen nothing yet, which made Batman hit him with a couple batarangs, and he was like, "Really? You don't even see it? Boy, you are out of your depth this time." And those little toy things ain't gonna cut it this time, except he didn't use toy, but he downplayed them. He then goes on to tell him that he's dreamed of days to come where the whole world will see superheroes as he sees them, not as heroes, but as horrors. And now his dreams of nightmare are coming through as he creates more and more constructs to handle them, whilst he also puts the doctors to sleep to force out their worst nightmares. Meanwhile, Diana, Zatanna, and Detective Chimp have made their way to the Hall of Justice, examining this fake John Dee's body, or more or less a construct by whoever is doing this. And then this purple energy entered into their eyes, effectively putting Wonder Woman and Detective Chimp to sleep, leaving only Zatanna, who was quick enough to cast some spells, but unfortunately it worked only on her. But then we see this purple nightmare energy explode, and now it has affected Superman mid-flight, causing him to go night-night, leading him to free fall back onto Earth. A fall from that height is not my problem. He will survive that since he's had worse, but then is this fall not going to wake him up? If it doesn't, then this nightmare guy is wild. And we see this purple nightmare energy spread across the world, causing every villain and hero to fall asleep into their nightmare. I might say this is beginning to feel like Avengers Infinity War, seeing as how everyone is falling asleep against their will. But this is worse. Imagine a plane full of people who just falls asleep. It's over for them once they fly long enough to empty the fuel tank on autopilot. And I know autopilot doesn't land planes. And they didn't show this dark extent, but imagine, just imagine. And over here at Arkham, Harley Quinn has been taken over, leaving only the Batman, who refuses to fall asleep, so he pumped himself with adrenaline to stimulate his heart rate in order to remain awake. And I mean, why would anyone want to take a nap in an asylum? Arkham Asylum to be precise. But I guess everyone is sleeping, so it doesn't really matter, right? And so then he kicks Batman into a wall. And whilst Batman picks himself up, he says to himself, I will not rest, I will not sleep until you are. And then realizes, oh crap, he's asleep. As we see young Bruce in Crime Alley wearing the same suit he wore the night his parents were murdered. And this was when Deadman realized that he has to do something he was warned not to do again, which is to possess Batman's body. But he's sorry because for now, he has no other choice. But then it still didn't work because this villain by the name Insomnia, who currently possesses John Dee bodies, grabbed him in the throat, then asked him, what do the dead dream about? Which indicates that he attempts to put both Deadman and Batman, who are currently in possession of one body, to sleep instantaneously. And that will be it for today. I'll be covering the concurrent stories of this ongoing series, so if you like content like this, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to join in on the ride as we go through whatever is every character's nightmare. Et voila!